Morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. I want to applaud you for being here today. This morning, we are excited to welcome back Elaine Silver as our speaker and musician. Elaine calls herself an emissary of divine law and love. And I kind of think of Elaine as a peace troubadour. Yeah. Kind of she travels around and teaches about peace, love, fellowship, community, all the things that we stand for. And we appreciate her being here. And just so you know, Elaine is also a certified Beatleologist. I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that. Elaine, would you lead us in our opening prayer?
Yes, I will lead in the opening prayer, which is actually a song, and it's the Lord's Prayer, but it's my version of it. You know, and so I kept most of the words. They've been unitized, but I turned it into a country waltz. And if anybody wants to get up and dance, you can. And I'm going to sing it once through. Some of you have heard it and know it, and you already know the words, and it's a very simple melody. And then we'll sing it again all together. Our Father and Mother, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Same melody. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. You give us this day our daily bread. You forgive us our debts as we do our debtors. Here's where we're going to affirm what we want instead of what we don't want. You lead us and guide us and protect us and deliver us from evil and error. I think they wanted me to change it to that line. Okay. For thine is the kingdom, and thine is the power, and thine is the glory, forever and ever. Okay, from the top. Our Father and Mother, which art in heaven, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. You give us this day our daily bread. You forgive us our debts as we do our debtors. Let me hear you. You guide us and protect us, yeah, and deliver us from error, That's the unity way. For thine is the kingdom, and thine is the power, and thine is the glory, forever and ever. Let me hear you. good. Beautiful. We're going to do a meditation. So why don't you get comfortable in your seat and uncross your arms and legs if you want. And close your eyes or lower your gaze. Or keep your eyes open, whatever makes you happy. Come. So Greg just told us that God is everywhere present. That's the first unity principle. God is everywhere. Well, God isn't just everywhere. God isn't just in everything. It is everything. Everything in the formed and the unformed worlds is made of this divine substance. You can call it God, you can call it spirit, you can call it source, you can call it energy, you can call it whatever your name is. Because if God is all there is, then each one here is made 100% of that substance, essence, presence. And as humans, as physical experiences and expressions, physical expressions, there's two differences that I see between the physical and the non-physical. We have a body. Spirit doesn't. So every time we breathe, every time we see, every time we speak, every time we touch or feel or hear, we're doing that for spirit. God gets to experience being human through us, by means of us. It's a pretty powerful, empowering idea. And then the other thing that brings a difference that I can see is that we have something called free will. Free will, which means we're always at choice. And there are consequences to our choices. This is called the universal voice. We are always at choice when we tune into the universal voice, but it takes discipline to listen into the universal voice. Now, it doesn't take discipline for everyone, because we can make this become a habit, a habitual way of thinking and feeling. Do something for 28 days, and it becomes a habit. It takes discipline to listen in to the universal voice. And there's the universal choice. It's the love in the universal voice, but it takes discipline to listen into the universal voice. The universal voice is still and small. The universal voice answers every call. This comes from within, below and above, as the sacred sounds of love. The universal voice brings us knowing. The universal voice keeps us growing. The universal voice sets us free to roam to the universal sound of Om. So if you're up to it, we're going to Om a few times. It's the universal sound of creation. If you're trying to manifest something, the Oms may be very helpful. Om. And again. more time. Om. We are always at choice when we tune into the universal voice, but it takes discipline to listen into the universal voice. Sing that with me. It takes discipline to listen into the universal voice. And one more time. It takes discipline to listen into the universal voice. And so it is. And so you can come back to the room. Hi, everybody. Come on back. All right. The universal voice is still and small. It answers every call. You know, we do have those answers within. It's a really good thing to just stop sometimes when you're not sure what's going on. You're not happy. You're not, you know, you just like you're confused. And you can just say, what do I need to know? And the answer will come. Eventually it comes. And so, the talk today, the topic is spiritual economics through song. Okay? Spiritual economics through song. This was inspired by Eric Butterworth's masterful book, Spiritual Economics. How many people here have read? Here it is, this book here. And so I actually used to go to Lincoln Center in New York City and see Eric Butterworth. It's really that. I started doing that. You know, every once in a while I would go. It started on Easter Sunday in 1976. I had met a woman in a seminar called EST. Anybody ever take that, the EST training in landmark education? It's like you peel away the layers of the onion and you continually ask the question, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? What's so? What is true? And so I met a woman named Rebecca in the EST training, and we're still friends, and we still communicate. And that was like, 50 years ago. So, as a very young woman, to learn things like we create our own reality, life is a mirror, you know, what we see is a reflection of what's here. These are spiritual principles. And another one was a distinction between wants and needs. Like, oh, I need a car, I need a this. And most of the things we think we need are really things we want. So it was good to have that distinction as well. These are choices. So going to Lincoln Center on Sunday morning and witnessing hundreds and hundreds of people filing in and out of Lincoln Center. And Dr. Stuart Grayson from the Church of Religious Science met there too. One was at Avery Fisher Hall, one was at Alice Tully Hall. It was such an exciting time. And so then, about more than 20 years ago, but not 25 years ago, I took the course, Spiritual Economics. I took it through Center for Conscious Living here in Clearwater. And I remember I really liked it. I really liked the course. And I kept the book. This is the same book that I had then. It's the same copy. Although when I opened it, you know, there were some things underlined, but now like, every page has yellow. You know, every page has underlined stuff. There's stuff in this book that wasn't there the first time I read it. And it's the same book copy. Anybody else ever experienced that? It's like when the student is ready, the teacher or the teachings appear. And I just like inhaled this book. And it took me forever to do my homework, to get through the writing or the reading, because I'd get inspired and then I'd write something down. And, you know, some of you know that I'm a haiku poet, and I started doing it about 4 years ago. I wrote about 400 haiku poems from this book. And it took me a long time. I'm going to share some of them this morning. And so there are 12 chapters, I believe, in the book. And some of them are principles, and some of them are, you know, they're chapters on this or that. And so I took my favorite 6 ideas. There's other stuff in here too, but I don't have that much time. So I took my favorite 6. And idea number 1 is, I'm going to have that on the screen, Idea number 1, God is everywhere present. Can we say that? God. Right. And again, I'm saying this here again. This is a major principle in New Thought philosophy. Not only is God everywhere present and in everything, it is everything. Everything is made of the same substance. So we already heard that part. So we're going to listen to some of my haiku poems. I have 2 here. Who doesn't know what haiku is? Okay, so it's a form of poetry. It's 3 lines. The first line is 5 syllables. The second line is 7 syllables. And the third line is 5 syllables. So it's 17 syllables. And to take the different ideas and to have them fit into 17 syllables, it's a little bit challenging, but it was fantastic to do because that's a discipline. It's a discipline. So, you know what? I have to read from the book first. Okay, so I have to read from page 36 and 37. But no, first I'm going to do the haiku. One life coursing through. One life coursing through a divine appointment in human consciousness. And then, the good I'm seeking is my God. God is my life, health, strength, and support. And then page 36. Okay, so I quote from Eric Butterworth. Your personal welfare begins with your consciousness. It has its inception in the state of your mind. You can be prosperous when business is poor, and you can experience financial difficulties even when business is booming. By your thinking, you are either adding to your good or you are taking away from it. The law is inexorable. Failure or lack in your life is simply the result of continuously minusing yourself, and conversely, success and prosperity are the results of constantly plussing yourself. And it's a good idea to, when you you see yourself in the mirror, just say something, oh, I'm beautiful, or I'm perfection of health, or all is well. Just give yourself these positive affirmations because it adds to your consciousness. Okay, so he also says, your negative thoughts of fear and worry are depleting your good faster than inflation erodes the value of the dollar. And your positive, optimistic thoughts add to your good more dramatically than compound interest increases your bank savings. And so then he goes on to talk about a truth that Jesus declared. And I used to sing this song written by Billie Holiday, and I used to sing it in the 70s, and I had no idea really what I was singing, or it didn't make any sense to me, but I liked the song. And it goes, them that's got shall get, them that's not shall lose. So the Bible says, and it still is news. Mama may have, Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. How many remember that song? Okay. So, the quote from the Bible is, quote, for unto everyone that hath shall be given, and she shall have abundance, but from him, her, that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath or she hath. Now, what that means is it's your right of consciousness. So if you're feeling unworthy, undeserving, even things that you accumulate, they may be taken away. So it's so powerful to understand that we have a spiritual inheritance that's our right. And so there was another distinction that my friend Rebecca told me. And, I'm like 21 years old, and I was already a musician, and I was saying, I'm so poor, and she goes, never say you're poor. And I'm like, no, because she had been studying with Eric Butterworth. Never say you're poor. I'm like, well, She goes, no, you could say you're broke, but there's people that have a lot of money and they are poor. I'm sure we can all think of a few. And Eric Butterworth said, and now I just heard the other day that it was actually Charles Fillmore that said, quote, it's a sin to be poor. You're missing the mark when you think you're poor. That's a mistake in thinking, and so it's up to us to claim our inheritance. So I have another song here that goes with the theme of God is everywhere present. And it's called In the Universal Realm. And it talks about broke and poor, okay? And it's kind of like a kirtan. So see how it says in the universal realm where we live and have our being, the whole of spirit is present everywhere? Those verses, I'll sing that and then we'll sing it together, just like a kirtan. There's a leader and a group. So in the universal realm where we live and have our being, the whole of spirit is present everywhere. Here's your part. In the universal realm where we live and have our being, the whole of spirit is present everywhere. Now we're going to Om together. Om. Om. And again. Om. I may have been broke, but I've never been poor. I rely on spirit, it's my inner jewel. I may have been broke, but I've never been poor. I rely on spirit, it's my inner jewel. Let me hear ya. Oh, oh, oh. True prosperity for you and me when we open up and see that we are free. For God works through eternity, not doing for me but as me. We're gonna Om. In the universal realm where we live and have our being, the whole of spirit is present everywhere. In the universal realm where we live and have our being, the whole of spirit is present everywhere. Oh, oh, oh. I've been broke, but I've never been poor. I rely on spirit, it's my inner jewel. Come on. Yeah. I rely on spirit, it's my inner jewel. Oh, true prosperity for you and me when we open up and see that we are free. For God works through eternity, not doing for me but as me. Let me hear you. Come on. One more time. Oh. There we go. Okay. All right. Well, you could clap because it's a concert. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to idea number 2, the principle of abundance. Can you say that? We live in an abundant and giving universe. I like the idea of the example of nature, and my favorite one is the oak tree. You know how I have an oak tree that's huge in my backyard, and every year, well, I had to have it trimmed last year because of the hurricane, but for years it would just give off hundreds, maybe 1,000 acorns every year. And each one of those acorns has the potentiality to become another giant oak tree, giving off thousands of acorns every year. I mean, hundreds of thousands of it. So this gives me it's almost, I can touch the idea of infinity. Just keep going, and it's bigger and bigger. And that's how spirit works. It just keeps giving. It's the law of giving. Think about a plant that you plant. Okay, it starts out like this, and then in 2 years, it's a giant thing. How does that happen? You know what I mean? It's amazing. It starts with a little seed. It starts as a thought in somebody's mind. And so prosperity is a way of thinking and being. It's not something we get. Think about the word affluence. Literally means an abundant flow. So when you're in an affluent state of mind, you're in the flow of affluence. And so here's a haiku. The economy is just a barometer of our consciousness. And then this is my favorite quotation from the book, Spiritual Economics. Quote, "The kingdom that is within you, which is your very own inlet, may become an outlet to all there is in God. Claim your inheritance of abundance. You are entitled to the support of God. Substance in everything to which you give your mind or hands." And this is my favorite part. "Let go of the belief in the grace of poverty and the subconscious guilt of having things, along with the feeling of unworthiness, attitudes that have such a detrimental influence upon human consciousness. Claim your inheritance," end quote. We're going to claim our inheritance. Oh, here's a couple more haikus. "I'm rich in spirit by reason of spiritual inheritance." Yes. "The wheel of fortune is the ever-present God. It's an inside job. Living a charmed life, knowing I deserve it all, spirit then responds." Yeah, okay. So we're going to move on to idea number 3. Your fortune begins with you. How about we say, my fortune begins with me? My fortune begins with me. Our point of power is always where? Does anybody know where? And where? It's when and where? Here and now. Here and now. We can learn from the past. We can go to the past and we can learn something, but we're learning it in the present moment, and we can look to the future, set intentions, get ideas, but those are happening right now. This is where the point of power is. And I just learned an interesting technique that let's say you're talking to somebody and you don't agree, but this is somebody you love, it might be politics or whatever, but you love this person and you just don't agree, and maybe you're both judging each other. When I get to that point, I learned to do this technique, and I think it's a neuro-linguistic program. Once I notice it, I just say to myself, stop, and just get present to the moment, and that I love this person, and then it just takes away that energy of going down that rabbit hole. So we can do the same thing with knowing that our point of power is in the present moment, and this is where we are free to make the choices that support or deny our desires. Conscious awareness is key. This is being conscious of what we're thinking and feeling. Thoughts create feelings. Sometimes we may hear someone say, and I've told this to people, and they do not agree with me, but I know the truth. And I say, oh, a feeling just came over me. No, it didn't. Yeah, if that's what it feels like, all of a sudden you get this gut feeling, or you get a feeling, and you don't know necessarily where it came from. But I declare that anybody that says, a thought just came over me, if they really start to look inside and say, what do I need to know? And they'll come to a place where this may have happened before. They made a choice. They made a decision. They made a judgment. And so it's important to know that. It's important because feelings are caused by our beliefs, which are often unconscious. And according to Abraham Hicks, anybody here know Abraham? Yeah, I've followed them for years. Abraham says, a belief is just a thought we keep thinking. It could be a lie or a truth we keep hearing. You know, you say the same thing over and over. Someone says the same thing over and over. People start to believe it. You know, there's lots of them. I could go into them, but not here. So find better feeling thoughts. They can become manifestations. So I was going through a period, about a year or so before our last election, and I was so invested in knowing everything that was going on and watching this podcast, and I was going like this with my energy because I was upset a lot. Things. And then I started to notice that I was manifesting things that I did not want, some like really major things I didn't want. And that's when I caught myself. And then I quit watching the podcasts. I watch a little bit. I'll see what the headlines are, but I try not to because I'll start going down this thing. But so what I did was I found a podcast called Sitting with Dogs. How many people have seen that with Rocky Kanaka? This is so cute. It's this guy from Hawaii. He lives in California. And he goes to the dog shelters and he finds the dogs that are shut down or they're shaking or they're scared or they're, some of them even cry. And he'll somehow he'll go in the cage and he'll sit with them and he'll give them treats and he'll tell them it's not your fault. And but the dogs come around. And if a dog comes around, then it has a higher chance of being adopted. Nobody wants to adopt a dog that just wants to disappear into the corner. And then after I found that, it made me feel so good to watch the dogs. And I was never a dog person, but now I love every dog. I see a dog, a dog. But I remain calm because I found Caesar. How many people know the dog whisperer? He's my guru. And the idea is just to remain calm because human beings think that dogs are people, and they're not. They smell first, they see second, and they hear later. So, somebody's going, sit, 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 sit. And that dog will teach you to say it 20 times before it sits. They teach us. So I wanted to do this song called Thoughts Become Things. I went off on a tangent, but it's so much fun to talk about dogs. I love all dogs, and I love cats, too. We have 2 cats. Okay, this is called Thoughts Become Things, okay? Summer into fall, winter into spring, listen to the call, the thoughts become things, thoughts become things, I let my wishes ring, I'm awakening, the pendulum swings to thoughts becoming things, the blessings they can bring, aware that I'm aware, my thinking is a prayer, my thinking is a prayer, my thinking is a prayer, thoughts become things. My wishes sing. I'm affirming now, God's declaring how each and every hour I tap into the power of universal law. It brings a state of awe. The magic of the mind is out of space and time, out of space and time, out of space and time. I'm opening. I'm awakening. Thoughts become things, the pleasures they can bring, the treasures of a king. I am one with everything. I am one with everything. I am one with everything. Summer into fall, winter into spring, listen to the call that thoughts become things, 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 thoughts become things. Choose good ones. All right. All right. right, so now we're going to move on to idea number 4. In the flow of God, a giving spirit. In the flow of God, a giving spirit. So here's another quotation from Eric Butterworth, EB. The goal should not be to make money or acquire things, but to achieve the consciousness through which the substance flows forth when and as you need it. Now, that's really trusting. And so he also mentions the idea of electricity. You know, we can't prove it, but we can see what it does. But electricity is an invisible current. It is a force of nature, right? Agree? Electric current is invisible to us. We can't deny it. And money, that's a haiku. Now, money or affluence doesn't have to be in form. It is also an invisible force, and that's why money is called currency. Currency. Because it's an energy. You know, we say, money is God in action. So here's 4 more haikus. Handle currency with a joyous attitude to get in the flow. I trust the allness of the infinite supply. Spirit is my source. Here in a nutshell, giving way to divine flow is in consciousness. It's not what we are giving to, it's what we are giving divinely from. And we cannot outgive God. And money is God in action. It is a flow. And when the flow is blocked, Eric says, when the flow is blocked, what happens? Something gives, right? Something breaks or something's got to give. And he says, start giving to give. Start the flow, the universal law of circulation, you know, because if you're just constantly taking and taking and taking, that's going to stop. You know, something's got to, you can't really give if you can't receive, and you can't really receive if you can't give. So it's important to have that distinction. And so I made a song called Something's Gotta Give. All right, something's gotta give. I'm going to teach you the verse, which is the chorus. Something's gotta give if we truly want to live in a world where we all grow. Something's gotta give if we truly want to live, again, in a sacred, abundant flow. So it's something's got to give if we truly want to live. That happens 2 times. The first one, in a world where we all grow, and the second one is in a sacred, abundant flow. Okay? Let's try. Something's got to give if we truly want to live in a world where we all grow. Something's gotta give if we truly want to live in a sacred, abundant flow. Giving of itself is the universal start, creating the perfect setting. What I gotta give comes straight from my heart. It is love and light and blessing. Try that with me. Something's gotta give if we truly want to live in a world we all grow. Something's gotta give if we truly want to live in a sacred, abundant flow. Giving of itself is the universal start, creating the perfect setting. What I gotta give comes straight from my heart. It is love and light and blessing. Something's gotta give if we truly want to live in a world where we all grow. Something's gotta give if we truly want to live in a sacred, abundant flow. In a sacred, abundant flow. In an abundant flow. And now we're going to move on to idea number 5, which is distinctions in the tithing practice. How many people here tithe? Yeah, okay. I do too. But Eric talks about if we give to get, that is not real giving. Okay? The history of the tithe. Now, this is what really opened me up, because I had been wanting to increase my monthly tithe to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast in Sarasota for a while, and I just hadn't done it yet. And then I read this, and I just upped it by 50%. I don't even notice it. It just comes right out of my checking account. The history of the tithe, which translates to the word 10, is a giving of 10% of income, crops, or whatever is earned or accumulated. And it was a requirement. It was a requirement. So it was like a tax. And this book tells me some people guilty of not giving the full share were even put to death. Okay, so that's pretty heavy. So, but actually, it's a wonderful practice. If you do it, with that spirit of, here, I'm helping, I'm doing this, I love to, I want to be giving from a place of love. It's an excellent practice that we strongly recommend to anyone who is seeking to change his or her life from indigence to affluence. But, you can still tithe. You don't have to go from indigence to affluence. You can go, but there's just the conscious awareness around it is that you do it from an open heart, not because you have to. And this book says Jesus, in the Bible, he's never quoted in support of tithing, because he knew it wasn't about you have to do it. It was about you want to do it. So, let me see. I have a song about that. Oh, yeah. And I'm almost complete here. So, how many people here buy lottery tickets? Come on, admit it. Right. Well, I spend $6 a week. I just do the lotto, the 6 numbers. I know my numbers, and I can look it up. Every Sunday morning, I'm like, oh, did we win? Oh. And it's just a fun thing. It's part of my routine, and I enjoy it. And if I don't, one time I was somewhere, and I forgot to get the lottery ticket, and I called my husband. I go, you got to go get it. Do a double play. And I told him the numbers. So what happens is that when I am thinking about buying a lottery ticket or winning, I think it's like 16 or 17 million now for Wednesday. What do I do? Well, what are we going to do when we win? And we have the whole thing planned, what we're going to do, what we're going to pay, who we're going to help. And that raises my vibratory rate. Oh, like really? It's fun to think that way. It's fun. And then I go in and I give them my ticket from last week. And then if you win, even if you just win a ticket, the machine goes, da-da-da-da. And so I'm going, come on, da-da-da-da. And like people around me think and that's okay, because what you think of me is none of my business. That is a spiritual principle. And if I don't win, I get to contribute about $300 a year to education in Florida. And I'm good with that. Okay, so I got a song called Lottery Ticket. Every time I buy a lottery ticket, I am a winner. I am a winner. Every time I buy a lottery ticket, my heart's a glimmer. My heart's a glimmer. My vibration's risen and it's given me such a feeling. A realization, transformation's healing. Oh yes, it's healing. Every time I buy a lottery ticket, I am a winner. I am a winner. Every time I buy a lottery ticket, my heart's a glimmer. My heart's a glimmer. All right. And I have one more. And idea number 6, green side up. Okay. So see this dollar bill here? See, that's like the front, right? And that's green. But if you turn it around, see how much greener the back is, if you want to call it like a greenback dollar. Remember that song from the 60s? So here's the front and here's the back. And so Eric says that when you hand somebody money, you hand it green side up, because it says right here, all the paper money, and then I checked, and all the coins also, they all say, in God we trust. So when you are handing somebody money, you do it green side up, and then you bless the money, and you bless the person you're handing it to. And right after I learned this, I stopped at a Circle K in Sarasota, just got a cup of coffee, and It was me, and it was the woman behind the register. And I go, I just learned this thing. And I told her, I go, and when you in God we trust, you bless the money and you bless the person you're giving it to. And she goes, I needed to hear that. See, that's a giving spirit, even smiling at someone. I lived in a convent for a while. I was sent there for disciplinary purposes. We learned to open the door. I love opening doors. I'll just hold the door for people. I love that. That is a giving spirit, right? So we're going to sing the Green Side Up song, And remember that I grew up in a nursery school. My mom had Silverland Nursery School for 30-something years in our house. It was a real 50 kids at a time. It was a real thing. 6,000 square foot old farmhouse. So a lot of my songs have that simplicity of the nursery school vibe. This one. So the chorus goes like this, and we're going to have hand motions. So everybody, green side up like this. Come on, green side up. Everybody, come on. And it goes, green side up when you put your money down. Let's try that together. Green side up when you put your money down. Green side up when you pass it around. Try that part. Green side up when you pass it around. Green side up when you're paying for your stuff. Green side up when you're paying for your stuff. Green side up, it says, in God we trust. Green side up, it says, in God. Let's try it. Green side up when you put your money down. Green side up when you pass it around. Green side up when you're paying for your stuff. Green side up, it says, in God we trust. We're going to do it a few more times during the song. So it goes. All the paper money in America has a message for each one of us. All the paper money in America has the message, in God we trust. Green side up when you put your money down. Green side up when you pass it around. Green side up when you're paying for your stuff. Green side up, it says, in God we trust. There's a blessing to the person you hand the money to. There's a blessing that comes back to you. All the paper money in America has a message for each one of us. All the paper money in America has a message, in God we trust. Green side up when you put your money down. Green side up when you pass it around. Green side up when you're paying for your stuff. Green side up, it says, in God we trust. Green side up when you put your money down. Green side up when you pass it around. Green side up when you're paying for your stuff. Green side up, it says, in God we trust. Green side up, it says, in God we trust. Green side up, it says, in God we trust. And so it is. Good job, everybody. Okay, so it's that time in the service. We're going to put our green side up there.